Founded in 1899, the VFW has initiated various programs and services designed to address the evolving needs of service members, veterans, military families, and communities around the globe. The core mission of the VFW is to advocate for veterans, ensuring they are honored for their service, receive the benefits they rightfully deserve, and are acknowledged for the sacrifices made by them and their families to defend the nation. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Cindy Knoll, the Assistant Director of Field Operation of the VFW, and Walter Hurd, the National Director of TAP.
Hey, good morning and welcome everybody to our 12th edition of Tap Talks. I can't believe it. We do this once a month and we've been doing it for 1 year, and every single month it gets a little better, and we're going to have a great talk today. I really appreciate everybody's presence. Really appreciate our guest. As you heard a moment ago, Cindy Knoll with the Veterans of Foreign Wars. So she's going to tell us all about that organization. And really, she's here today because what we try to do in the Transition Assistance Program, as you all know, about 100,000 soldiers a year transition off of active duty. We try to prepare them, and then we try to get them connected. And we're going to talk a little bit about that connection and various ways. So, Cindy, welcome. Thank you so much for plugging in. Tell me, how did you get involved in the VFW?
So, good morning. Thank you for having me. I retired out of active duty. I was in the Air Force for 22 years. And as I was transitioning off active duty, I was retiring, but it wasn't a traditional retirement where you plan 2 years out. I got an assignment, and it wasn't the best environment to move a young child to. So I decided to retire, and that retirement had to happen within 7 months. And so it was not traditional, right? I didn't get to have this excessive planning moment. But I had gone to TAP prior to, about maybe 2 years before. So when I made that final decision to retire, I went to TAP. They talked about, VSOs briefly, but no VSO came in the classroom. My general at the time and my colonel at the time were both retiring. And my general came by my cubicle. I was at the Pentagon. And she was like, you need to go to Andrews Air Force Base and see this guy about your claim. And I was like, I don't know what she's talking about, but I'm going to go, right? And I went over there, and this guy happened to be Michael Figlioli. And he is now the director of NVS here with the VFW. And I sat there and I watched him go through every page of my medical records. And he did my claim. And here I am almost 11 years later. I'm also a VSO.
How about that? So VSO, what is a VSO, and are they part of the government? Is it part of the VFW? Are they out there? Well, tell me about that.
So a VSO stands for a Veteran Service Officer, and we are accredited. We go through a training and we get accredited. Our director approves that accreditation. That accreditation goes through the VA, Department of Veteran Affairs. But we work for the VFW, a nonprofit organization, and we are accredited to process VA claims in the sense of we help this veteran, the active duty service members, we help them with their applications. And we do that absolutely free. So there's no cost, no charge whatsoever.
All right, so let me repeat that back and make sure I got it. A veteran service officer, and the VFW has many, probably hundreds, has gone through a VA certification. So they're legit. They're not just some miscellaneous guy or gal. Free, there's no charge.
Absolutely not.
Am I right that they sit down with the soldier, the veteran, and they kind of talk them through the process of VA benefits and VA healthcare, and which is very complicated, I'll tell you. And they talk them through that. Is that right?
Absolutely. We train every single VSO as we go through, as they come in and they decide they want to be a VSO, we train them, right? And so we teach you what's going on. We teach you all the laws, what's in the 38 CFR. So when you're sitting down with, if you're doing a pre-discharge claim, meaning you're helping an active duty service member before they transition out the military, and you're going through those medical records, you know what VA is looking for, right? So you know the things that the service members can list on their VA applications. So our VFW VSOs, they go through that medical record review and they list the conditions that the service member can put on their applications. And we walk you through that entire claim process. You know, we walk you through, you're going to go through C&P, compensation and pension exams. We tell you, you know, you got to stay, you know, local for 45 days so VA can examine you. So we literally walk you through the process from start to finish. We're your advocate.
Yeah, boy, that's a great one. There's several foot stompers in what you just said. One, that it's free of charge. So, unfortunately, with any opportunity, there's a scam network out there, and there's a lot of scammers who will come up and say, for a price or for a percentage, we will help you through this process. Stay away. Stay away from those people, because the
Absolutely.
has these people that are certified, and they're here for no other reason than to help soldiers and veterans through this complex process. Now, I keep saying soldiers and veterans. Do you recommend that we begin this process while we're still in uniform? And if we didn't, can we do something, I don't know, 5, 10, 20 years after we take the uniform off?
Listen, I manage our field operations team, right? I manage all of our pre-discharge claims representatives who are located on 20 military installations. And the VA has created the BDD program, or the pre-discharge claims program, where you're on active duty 180 to 90 days prior to you leaving. You can file what's called a BDD claim. You can still file a BDD claim even up until the last day before you leave. I recommend to everyone wearing the uniform, if you can hear our voices today, please file your claim prior to leaving the military. You can still file it after, but the importance of doing it on active duty, you're still in the uniform. You go to your exams after, following the claim. If they find something that's wrong with you, they can still invite a claim for that condition. But you have the experts on the installations, your VFW pre-discharge reps on the installation, who can assist you with this process. VA also gives service members that 1 year, right, after they leave the military, to where they can go in and continue treatment for whatever they did not get seen for and still file a claim within that year. Yeah. So I tell service members, please do it when you're in a uniform, or definitely quickly thereafter.
Yeah, some more foot stompers there for those of you who are listening. And I'm just flashing back to my retirement long, long ago, but there was a VFW VSO right next to the TAP Center, in the office right next door here at Fort Knox, which is where I retired from. And they said, here's the guy that can help you with that. So I took my medical records, about that thick, like a phone book, and he and I sat down, and he kind of talked me through all these things, and really got me started on the BDD process while I was still in uniform. And I appreciate his teaching, coaching, and mentoring. Didn't cost any money. I'm pretty sure he was a volunteer, right? And very, very helpful. Hey, you mentioned everybody within my voice. I want to just stop and say, again, this is our 12th podcast. I'm bragging a little bit now. We've had something like 4,000 plus people plug into these, and they're going to be online for eternity. By the way, Cindy, you're famous forever and ever, and people can look these up. So please tell your friends, hey, what about this whole VSO thing? How does that work? Hey, go check it out on Tap Talks, and they got the smart lady who's telling you all about it. So really appreciate that. I neglected to say when we started, Cindy, happy birthday. 125 years that veterans of foreign wars have been in existence. Really, as soon as we started having veterans of foreign wars in 1899, the Spanish-American War, for the first time ever, we deployed any large numbers of soldiers outside of the continental United States. Of course, the Revolution Mexican-American War and American Civil War were right here. And then the Spanish-American War were in mostly Cuba and the Philippines. So all of a sudden we had veterans of foreign wars who stood up 125 years ago, this great organization. How many members do we have today?
As of today, we have nearly 1.4 million members.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's very impressive. I think it's an honor to be part of this organization and the work that we do. I think for many people, people join the military every day for various reasons. I know for me personally, when I joined the military, I didn't know anything about VA. I didn't know anything about veteran service organizations. I joined. And so it's good to know and be part of an organization such as this that provides what we provide every day, right? To individuals who serve, you deploy, you come back and you decide to leave the military, and you need that camaraderie still, and you're looking for something and someone who looks like you, who talks like you. And I think that's what the VFW provides and continue to provide for 125 years.
So you call your chapters posts, right?
Correct.
And how many posts are out there in America or maybe worldwide?
So right now we're looking at 6,000.
Wow.
And that's very impressive. I shared last week, I was on a panel and I was talking about being in Korea and going to a post right outside of Camp Humphreys and Osan. And I drive to Silas City, North Carolina, and you see posts along the highway going there. So that's impressive. Middle of anywhere, USA, you're going to find a post.
So let's just kind of put that in perspective. You just said about 6,000 posts worldwide, most of them, of course, here in the United States, but elsewhere also. And then I think you said 1.4, give or take, million people. So by comparison, the active duty Department of Defense, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard is only about 1 million. So there are more VFW members. If we had the entire DOD, dress right dress, in one big formation, there are more VFW members than that. And they're pretty much in every small town, big town in America and even worldwide. So that's great. Now you mentioned kind of the face of VFW. What do you see if we've got a soldier who's transitioning off of active duty from, I don't know, we'll pick the center of the universe, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, but they're going back home to Western Kentucky somewhere. How do they even find out? Hey, is there a VFW post near me, and who are they, and what do I do?
So thankfully, of course, we have the World Wide Web, and that soldier, they're connected. They are connected, and we work really hard on our website. Anyone can go to our website at www.vfw.org, and you can see where you can click and you can find a post. You can type in your zip code. You can go up to 100-mile radius from that zip code, and all the posts that are within that 100-mile radius will populate, and you can select whichever one you decide to go to. You can also pick it by city and state. It just depends on where you're deciding to move. If you're deciding to move back home, or if you're leaving your home of record behind and you want to go to California, you want to find something new, but you could find a post that way. You just go onto our website and you can find a post. And then it also gives you another option. If you're looking for something specific, let's say you are a biker, you can select on the website, okay, I'm interested in a post that has a strong biker, presence, and you can select, I want to make sure that's a thing.
Oh, great. So in most cases, of course, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, they join fairly young in life, maybe right out of high school or late teens, early 20s, something like that. So I call it the Rip Van Winkle effect. I left home when I was 18. I did whatever I did, and then I came back and I'm like Rip Van Winkle. My hometown looks different. So what are they going to see when they walk back into a VFW for the first time? Maybe they knew about it when they were a high school senior. They saw a march in a parade or something like that. What are they going to see? They walk in the door, fairly young, maybe still has an Army haircut or something, even though I still have my Army haircut pretty much. a little wider than it used to be. But so what is Joe going to see when they walk in a VFW post back home?
I think they're going to see a mix, right? They're still going to see the older demographics who are tried and true, who has been there because their grandfather was there, they served, and now they're there, and their sons are there, or their daughters are there. But they're going to see someone who looks like me, right? They're going to see someone who also served. They're going to see a younger person who came in, served 6 years, 8 years. They are going to see a different group of people. They're not going to see that old, smoking pub mentality where it's just like, you just come in and pull up to the bar. That's not it. They're going to see a different demographic because the military has changed. The military has changed, and the VFW has to change because that's what has happened, right? The veteran looks different.
Sure. Well, that's a great question. I'm just flashing back I'm a lifetime member of VFW, by the way. Let's hear it for Post 1179 in Shelbyville, Kentucky. But when I walk into our meetings, you hit the nail on the head. It's a pretty diverse crowd. I mean, we've got some young folks, recent combat vets, maybe even in their 20s. And then we've got some old folks combat vets from 40 years ago. But the commonality is that they're trying to build a community. So my club, I'll just give you a couple examples. They have a monthly Bible study. They have a monthly cookout, dinner kind of thing, and then frequent meetings, march in all the local parades, and help a lot of local nonprofits, and really try to help veterans, of course. In any case, we've had veterans show up kind of homeless, living in their car, and the VFW jumped on them and just kind of passed the hat and helped these guys get jobs and get plugged in. So it's a huge, huge, huge benefit that is worldwide. I mean, no matter where you are, there's probably a VFW post pretty close.
Absolutely. And the wealth of knowledge that's in the post, right? Especially where you have people who have transitioned into different roles, not just in the community, but in their professional life. And so you're in the post and you're talking to someone and they're like, oh, I'm looking for this regarding education for my daughter or my son. And that person has a college age child and they can share, oh, here's what you need to know about chapter 35. And so that's what we're there for, right? To build that community, to expound on what we've learned and what we've shared. The diversity is important. Our pre-discharge team with the VFW is very diverse. We're on installation. We think about what the transitioning service member experiences every day and how their life is going to change as they exit out. And having a place like a VFW post to go to as part of that transition process is important.
Now, I think the VFW, correct me if I'm wrong, you all have a pretty well-developed group of scholarship opportunities and grants and educational things. Tell me about that. Is that just for the veterans, or is that for veterans' families, or how is that?
So we do. We have what's called the VFW Sport Clips Help a Hero Scholarship. And what it does is it provides service members and veterans with financial assistance to complete their educational goals. The scholarships are up to $5,000 for qualifying applicants, right? And what it does is it minimizes service members and veterans from going into debt. We don't want them to go into student loan debt. It is for E5 or below, and they must demonstrate a financial need, of course. So far, it's been about $13 million in scholarship has been awarded. We also have educational grants. What we do is the VFW Washington office disperse grants to local VFW posts or departments, and the person must be a VFW member, and the grant award is up to $500, and that grant is issued, twice each fiscal year. So there are educational opportunities and a way for service members and veterans to get support with their educational needs.
Yeah, that's good because most of our transitioning veterans, their goal is to get a job, but the second most common is to go back to school. A lot of folks do both. They get a job and go to night school, of course. So any kind of educational opportunities, not only from the VFW, but of course the GI Bill through VA, et cetera, and that all goes into the discussion about benefits and how you get your benefits. Let me ask you a couple of questions, and I don't know the answer. I hope you do. I'm going to just put you on the spot here. Uh, can active duty members join or attend a local VFW post if they're still in uniform?
Yes, I remember my supervisor, Greg Orto. He has been a member way before he retired. So yes, he had been a member for years prior to him retiring and becoming part of the VFW organization,
Okay.
NVS. So yes, they can. Mm-hmm.
So that, just kind of thinking aloud, that really helps connect the American people with the American Army, because he's got one foot in uniform, certainly, and then one foot in the community. And the VFW really, it's a community-based organization, right? I mean, there's no official ties to the government. It's a local community effort.
Yeah, so here locally, I can speak for like Jacksonville, North Carolina. There's always a food drive. There's always something going on. The VA also goes out and participate in those drives just to support the community. If there's a hurricane, a tropical storm, there's always something going on to where they're providing support, bringing clothes, and seeing what everyone in the community needs. And it's not just for the military, it's for the community as a whole. What can we support? How can we support the community that we exist in?
Because, veterans join, and of course, lots of reasons, right? We signed up for a million different reasons, from adventure to school to paycheck, but all somewhere in that list of top 5 reasons is something about giving back, helping the community, helping the society, helping the nation. And the VFW continues with that. A little different style, a little different format, but ultimately to help the local community. So here's a question for you. The name is Veterans of Foreign Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we've been out of Afghanistan for a couple of years now, and our percentage of combat veterans is decreasing. So what if you're a veteran and spent your whole 4 years or 8 years or 10 or 20 years in an installation somewhere doing the Lord's work, signed a blank check, but for whatever reason, you just didn't deploy anywhere? Can you still get help, get that connection, and kind of get that coaching on the processes?
Absolutely. This is a very good question. And I think because just of the title of our name, I think some active duty service members who are transitioning out of the military may get nervous and think, well, I can't go see them because I don't qualify. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You can still come see us. You do not have to be a member to get access to our service as you're transitioning out of the military. Again, you do not have to be a VFW member. We will assist you with filing your claim. We will assist you with learning about VA benefits, about healthcare. We will still help you file your claim. So you do not have to be a VFW member to do that. And so we will still provide you support. Listen, a service member served 4 years at Fort Liberty, never left the base, and they decide to transition out and they go back to Brooklyn, New York, and they join a post. They go into a post, not join. They go into a post. No one in that post is going to say, get out of here. They're not going to do that. They're going to welcome them in. They're going to answer whatever questions. Now, can they join? No, because they won't qualify, but they're going to still find the support. They're still a veteran.
Yeah, that's a great point. Every person who wore a uniform, whether it was a couple of years or a couple of decades, whether it was through, hail and steel, or through training at the local installation, every one of us signed a blank check. And
absolutely,
sometimes Uncle Sam cashes it in a big way, and sometimes not, but they still signed it. So that's a good point. I'm a friend of mine is a former soldier, but never deployed, just because his time, history and all that stuff. And he frequently says, no, I'm not a veteran. I was just in the Army for a few years. And I'm like, well, no, you're still a veteran. and this is a good point. So for those current or future veterans, regardless of your history, the VFW will help you.
Absolutely. And I think it's very important that you make a good point when you say that. And I hear that a lot where people say, I just served, or I only served this amount of time, as if if you didn't retire, it didn't matter. And we have to move away from saying just and only. Your service matters. It was important. Not many people join the military.
Yeah.
And so we have to honor that, right? I had to change my language. I had to stop saying that, especially when I started this job, when I would sit in my office with Marines and I'm going through medical records and I'm like, oh my gosh, this young man served 6 years and oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine what I was seeing, right? Like his body had been through so much. And so I had to stop saying the word just. I had to learn to take that out of my vocabulary. And so a veteran is a veteran, and you have to just take stock of that and make sure we are able to provide support.
Yeah, listen, you all are doing a great job. And I will just encourage the listeners out there, either today live or if they watch it on one of our recorded platforms, this is really something to think about. So we've got 1.4 million members. We've got 6,000 or so posts, which really means there's one in every small town. There's probably 2 or 3. Well, I know I've got 2 posts, both within about 10, 15 minutes of my house, one to the east, one to the west. So I can kind of pick and choose. And they both, like any organization, a little different culture, which is okay. It's kind of like going to church. There's a different denomination maybe on every intersection. So pick the one that most agrees with your belief and your needs, and that's where you go. And the VFW, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Cindy, and then I'll ask you, we'll start rolling up here because, boy, 30 minutes goes by like that. Yes. But the VFW can help soldiers, whether they're still in uniform, about to get out, or maybe got out a long time ago, can kind of help them on 2 fronts. So connection with people, and then the medical accessibility. So does that sum it up?
Absolutely. So we have our pre-discharge claims representatives who are on the military installations. They do the pre-discharge claims before you get out. We also have our VSOs who work primarily with veterans. They also do pre-discharge claims. However, they work with veterans who may have been out a little bit longer. It's been 5 years or 6 years, and they work with veterans. They help them do claims. They help them file appeals. They help them at board hearings with the VA. They help them get aid in attendance, or they walk them through getting health care and so forth. So yes, we do both, right? We help you on your way out. After you've gotten out, we are still here to support you with the claim process, helping you walk through health care. We're here to support the veteran get the benefits that they deserve.
Boy, that's great. And it's a complicated process. I tell folks, and folks tell me, you only transition out of the military one time.
One time.
So by the time you figure it out, it's too late. But
with
experts like the VFW, they've seen this, dozens, hundreds of times. So they got it down, right? And the VA benefits, boy, that's complicated. So that's really something.
And we just strive definitely to make sure when we do your claim, we want this to be your best claim the first time. We don't want to keep going back and forth. We want to do it right the first time.
Well, I'm with you. This is great and most educational. So I'll encourage about 100,000 soldiers every year who take the uniform off. Check out the VFW. Okay, it's real easy. Google VFW near me, and you'll get an answer just like that. I'm sure there's one close to you. Almost no matter where you live in the world, and they can help you with a couple of things. Get connected with people, whether you're going back home or whether it's a new town. Just people like you who want to ride bikes, who want to play tennis, who want to go to prayer, whatever. And you can do as much or as little as you want. You can be every day there, or maybe just a couple of times a year. That's all good. And the second thing is that the VA benefits process and how to get plugged in, they can help you. That's why they're here. Not only here, that's why they're everywhere. We're surrounded by VFW. So I really encourage you to check it out. Look them up online, go to the local post, and just talk to people and meet people. I'm going to give you a minute for any closing comments, Cindy, but I really appreciate you plugging in this morning. And really, even more so, I appreciate what you do, what you did in uniform for 2+ decades, and now what you're doing out of uniform, which frankly is as important. So thank you so much for that. And I'll give you the last word.
So thank you so much for having me here today. Thank you so much for highlighting the amazing work we do at the VFW, particularly the pre-discharge claims process. I want every veteran, every service member who's on active duty, please make certain you file a claim. It's important. You don't think that you are hurting now. You don't think that you need to, but I promise you later on, when you go back and you try to do this later on, it can possibly take a little bit more work. But if you have the opportunity, file a claim, go to www.vfw.org, find a post. You can go there. You can also find a BDD rep. You can find a BDD location. Click on BDD. We can help you anywhere. We can do your claim remotely. We can support you. We are here to provide claim support. We are here to provide that camaraderie that you need and deserve. So we're here to help. Thank you.
And we appreciate the help. Soldiers appreciate it. America appreciates it. I certainly appreciate it today. Thank you so much. Hey, for our listeners, so this is number 12 podcast. We do them every month now. So we just finished our first year. Pretty excited about that. We're going to skip one in November. It's the middle of November now. Of course, we're about to kick off with Thanksgiving and Christmas. I hope everybody has an awesome holiday season. We've got a good one planned for the middle of January. I'm not going to announce it yet because I want to knock your socks off. This one's going to be great. They get better and better every single month. This one was great. The next one's going to be great as well. So happy holidays to all of you. Merry Christmas. God bless you. Thank you, Cindy, for you and the whole Veterans of Foreign Wars team. And thank all those service members and veterans out there listening. Have an awesome day. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to episode 12 of TAP Talk. We extend our gratitude to Cindy for her participation as she provided valuable insight into the opportunities available through the VFW for service members, veterans, and military families. We want to inform you that TAP Talk will take a break in December, but we will return on the air in January 2025. We wish you and your family a joyful holiday season. In closing, we encourage all soldiers to engage with TAP early and often, as this approach greatly enhances the potential for success. Thank you for your service.